What's up, guys? I'm the Coaster Person, and today I'm doing my Kracken review. This is the best floorless coaster I have ever ridden, and I have not ridden Superman Krypton coaster, so that may change. But this ride is still a fantastic ride. It gives you some great inversions. It's pretty smooth, not the smoothest, but the first up is we have the stats. So the stats aren't the most impressive, but the G-force is a little bit impressive, but it's still it's not like a high. The first category up is the height. Now this height is not compared to like Top Thrill Dragster and King Ka. It's not really that tall. It's only like 149 feet. So that's why I give it a 3 compared. Next up is the speed, and on the speed it's the same thing as height of what I just said. Instead of not compared to, well, it could be compared to King Ka, but and Top Thrill Dragster, but definitely compared to Formula Rosa. So, next up is the drop, and the drop is pretty good. You get some pretty good airtime when you're in the back. You kind of fly out of your seat, but because you get whipped over there to the drop, so that's why you get some good airtime in the back seat. But in the front seat, it's not the best drop ever. Next up is the duration, and this ride is 2 minutes and 2 seconds. It's kind of average, but I'll give it a little bit more over average because it's alright. The duration is definitely not the best, but I'll give it a 6. The smoothness is up next, and this ride is mostly smooth except over that cobra roll. It kind of you kind of bang your head against the shoulder harness, but it's still mostly smooth, but except that cobra roll. Next up is the inversions. Now this ride has some pretty good inversions. It has a dive loop, two loops actually, a cobra roll, and a corkscrew. But these inversions aren't the best, so that's why. Next up is the restraints. And these are the typical B&M restraints. They're pretty comfortable actually. I really do like the B&M restraints, but they're not as good as like the El Toro restraints and the RMC restraints. So that's how I'd give it an 8. They're definitely not the best restraints. Next up is the intensity, and this ride is pretty intense. There are some weak spots in it, just like the loop is pretty intense. The little loop near the end, but like the dive loop and the regular loop are pretty forceless. The theming is up next, and the theming is pretty good. They have some pretty cool things in the queue. It has like the Kracken or the entrance where you dive under it, and it's a pretty cool. Next up is the airtime, and this ride has some not the best airtime. The only time you get airtime is when you're like in the back seat, like I said earlier. Over that drop, you go flying out of your seat. But the rest of the ride's not that much airtime, but that part over the drop is pretty good airtime. Next up is the layout, and this ride has a pretty good layout for being a floorless coaster. It does have some weak spots just after the turnaround before the brake run and after the cobra roll, but it's still pretty. Next up is the overall score. In this ride, I give it a 7. It is the best floorless coaster I have ridden. Like I said earlier, I have not ridden Superman Krypton coaster, but it's still a really good ride. So I'll see you guys later.